Good afternoon.
Yeah, it is afternoon, yeah, isn't it? How are you?
Very good, Herman.
Good. David,
Yes, sir.
we need to talk in 3 or 4 sessions of 3 minutes. 3 different promotional talks.
Yes, I've got the flyer in front of me. Do you have the flyer in front of you?
I don't have the flyer in front of me now. Graham's got, what's your name? James, sorry. James will give it to me now.
Okay, good. I've got there's 5 points at the top of what to expect at the what's next in the Lowveld. So I've got like maybe 2 minutes per point for each of those five, if that will work with you. Will that work? Will that be all right?
That's okay. Which 5 are you talking of?
It says.
What help it and understand and what are the unique expenses, etc.
Yes, those 5 right there. What to expect.
All right. Shall we continue?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Right. I'm speaking to David Wilkinson in America. Can you believe it? David, good morning.
Good morning, Herman.
Just for the interest of the people listening to this promotional talk, just introduce yourself again.
Yes, my name is David Wilkinson. I am the CEO of the Global Equipping Center. We provide executive coaching, motivational speaking, and seminars and training for entrepreneurs and executives.
Now we have spoken to in the past with this coming up of the new session that you're going to have here in Nelspruit. And why is Nelspruit recognized as the most promising and fastest growing city in South Africa?
Well, one of the reasons why Nelspruit is growing so quickly is because it actually is hidden. It's actually kind of like a gem in a bunch of dirt. And people, when they think about Nelspruit, they don't really think much about business. And what happens is there's actually a mystery that precedes people moving here. And how that happens is they come to Kruger National Park, and they come here to relax, and then they start to see that there's all these amazing business people in the marketplace, and they say, oh my goodness, Nelspruit is so understated. So Nelspruit has massive potential. In fact, it was very interesting. At our last networking breakfast in April of 2014 this year, we had 237 business individuals that attended. And I asked the audience, how many of you were actually born and raised in the Lowveld? And out of those, less than 20% raised their hand. And I said, well, let's do the exact opposite. Let's show the room what we're talking about here. How many of you were not raised in the Lowveld? And 80% of the audience raised their hand. Almost 200 people raised their hand. Now, they didn't all move here just to see elephants. They moved here because they believe that Nelspruit is growing so quickly, and they want to be ahead of the business curve of what's happening. What's also interesting is that you have 2 dynamics in Nelspruit. One of them is that people are coming from all over the world to come through Nelspruit to relax. They're coming with the perception that this is a relaxed place, this is the Lowveld, it's low key, and that's what they're coming to expect. And then you have the Mozambican corridor, in which people are coming to Nelspruit in order to purchase. But the bottom line is this, Herman, is so exciting about what's going to happen in the next 5 years in the Lowveld, because no matter if the individual's coming from the east or from the west, they're coming to the Lowveld, they're bringing their capital, they're bringing their wealth, and they're coming here to either relax or purchase, but they're coming here, and this is the city that's going to be exploding in the next 5 years.
It's something to look forward to. Now, you are going to be here in later this year, and it's not that far away anyhow.
Yeah, that's right. We're actually going to be having this event in October 21st here at M20 Arena, and we have partnered with the KLCBT, which is Zelda and Yanita, and they have been our best business partners One of the best decisions we ever made was to join the chamber, and we're so thankful that we could be on Radio Lowveld this morning, and just excited about what's going to be happening this October.
Lots of things are going to happen according to what I see in front of me here. So the actual date for when you will be here in South Africa at MO20?
Yes, it's going to be on October the 21st. Registration starts at 7:30 a.m. and it's a business breakfast.
Fantastic. I think we should call this one the first session.
Great.
And then do the second one.
Great, I'm ready.
Speaking to David Wilkinson in America. What part of America am I speaking of here?
I'm calling through Skype from Chicago, Illinois. It's up north. Last year they had their third worst winter. The snow was over your shoulders. So it's a little bit different than the nice, warm, sunny weather of Nelspruit in the winter.
Now you're coming to talk to us about economics here in Nelspruit, and I understand how economic storms produce unexpected business turmoil.
Yes, what I wanted to talk about in this second part of what's next in the Lowveld, forecasting your business and protecting your wealth, is what is an economic storm? And when people think of an economic storm, they usually think of only negative. And I want to talk to this audience. They're at M20 Arena on October 21st, hosted by the KLCBT, about what is an economic storm and how does that disillusion the marketplace. And the topic I want to talk about just today is the impact of the World Cup. The World Cup was one of the largest economic storms ever to hit South Africa. And what happened is that there was so much media hype about what was going to happen, and everybody got excited, and the whole country really rallied around this, and they were unified, they were motivated. And what this did was this began to unground the people living in Nelspruit, people living in other cities. And the reason why that ungrounded people is that they began to build an expectation that could not meet the reality. And what that did is that produced an economic storm. And what took place over time is that the media said we're gonna have over 500,000, maybe even 1 million visitors come into the country. And when they started talking about all these people, 500,000 plus people coming into the country, something happened in South Africa. Greed kicked in. And when that happened, it sabotaged potential exponential growth in the economic storm. And people started raising their rates and started doubling and tripling and quadrupling their rates. And the next thing you know, you're listening to BBC, and all of a sudden you hear these people in Scotland and England and India, and they have all these different interviews, and people are having to cancel everything because they can no longer afford it. And we had over 60,000 individuals who took their house and turned them into bed and breakfast. Many of them went bankrupt because they said that there was only about 100,000 people that eventually came to the country. And here's what happened. An economic storm gives certain people an opportunity to make a huge sum of money, and other people, they have no opportunity to make any money, and those expectations, if they're not met, that's the economic storm. It actually disillusions the marketplace. So when you drive into Nelspruit, it's beautiful. Here you have this amazing stadium. You have the giraffes. I mean, it's one of the most creative stadiums I've ever seen in my life. And it's stunning. But you know what it says to me? I'm disillusioned. I'm disillusioned because I see something that's beautiful that can rarely be used on an ongoing basis. And what's happened is that storm still has an impact today. And so here's what happens. Is the infrastructure of your business is the strength that you need for an economic storm to be able to handle an economic storm. So let's say, for sake of discussion, you're a small business, you have a staff of 10, And somebody walked in the next day and said, I'm going to give you 100 customers. Now for some people, 100 customers is an hour per customer and then they're done. And they're like, we can handle this, it'll take us 3 or 4 weeks, it'll be fine. Other people would say, we can't possibly handle 100 customers. So what we're going to talk about what's next in the Lowveld, one of the ideas is, let's say, you weren't able to have business for 6 months. Or let's say you had the largest influx of business and your company is unable to cope with that. That is an economic storm. And we're excited to actually be sharing about how do you forecast your business and protect your wealth, specifically when it comes to economic storms.
David, thank you very much. We are looking forward to this. Just for the listeners' sake, David Wilkinson, you have personally launched 22 multinational companies with up to 300 million rand generated revenue and 20% net profit success. So you come to South Africa with a plan, and this plan can help our local business people here.
Yes, not only that, Herman, but having lived in South Africa for 7 years, it's a little bit different than visiting. So I'm coming back to visit, but I've lived in Nelspruit for 2 years and love Nelspruit and cannot wait to come back, miss the nature, miss the industry, and looking forward to coming back and seeing all my friends and my clients.
Ons het gepraat met David Wilkinson daar in Chicago in Amerika met die groot seminar ontbyt wat plaasvind op die 21 Oktober 2014 in die arena by M20. David, thank you very much. We look forward to see you here on the 21st of October.
Thank you so much.
Right, we can start another session now.
Okay.
Business Breakfast. Dit is die ding waar ons gesels met David Wilkinson in Chicago, Amerika, en hoe nader die kommuniteit, hoe meer gaan jy hiervan weet. Die registrasie is op 7:30 die oggend vir 8 uur by die arena M20 en dis R120 vir sakekamerlede en R150 vir non-lede. En ons gaan vir jou hierdie voornommers ook gee van Zelda wat jy kan skakel by 013 755 1988. En jy sal moet bespreek, want het gaan baie bezig. David, nice to have you on Skype again. Let's talk about the unique expenses. We spoke about unique expenses that flood your profits and how the Lowveld community will interact and how they can predict future business growth.
Great. Okay, well, we're talking about unique expenses that flood your profits. This is what I'm talking about. When a company has a large sale, that they sign a large contract, and it's a new opportunity that they have. What happens is they get really excited about the amount of money that has entered into their company, because a significant increase in revenue is emotionally exciting. And many times what people do is, as soon as the money hits the bank, they go out and they start buying up assets that actually they don't need to purchase for fulfilling the contract. And when that happens, they actually, it's called, in the US we call this a misappropriation of funds. If you get paid 2 million rand to fulfill a contract, that's because you need the 2 million rand in order to fulfill the contract. If you go out and spend $1 million of that on a brand new Mercedes-Benz, in the US, that's called misappropriation of funds. You can actually be thrown in jail for that. Because you have spent the money that has not been appropriated to what you're actually supposed to be spending the money on, which is actually on the project itself. So there's a cause-effect relationship and unique expenses. So what I want to talk about is, how is it possible that when you see a poor person, it doesn't matter if they're in England or they're in the US or they're in South Africa, they're a poor person and they finally win a big lottery and they make lots of money. And what happens is, over a period of 5 to 10 years, they end up spending all the money, and then they get in a worse situation than where they were before they had the money. And the reason why that is I call this a bungee cord, between your income and expenses. That isn't it shocking that when you have low income, you have expenses that seem to meet or go above that income. But all of a sudden you have this huge contract. And if you just give it a few months, the person will actually, when that income goes up, they will find ways how their expenses will jump up and bungee all the way up to where their income is and even surpass that until where they say, I got to make more money because now I have to pay for those expenses. So here's what I want to leave with you is that the way that you protect your wealth is by not spending your net profit. You see, that's what you protect the most. You can't protect your revenue because you have to take your expenses off of them. But at the end of the day, if you have no net profit, when it's time to come along and to actually fulfill a new contract, to go and purchase a new asset, you have no working capital, you have no financial margin, and because of that, you actually, no matter how effective you are at forecasting your business, you can't protect your wealth because you have not protected your net profit. And these are the kind of concepts we're going to be talking about at the next KLCBT breakfast at M to 20, about what's next in the Lowveld, what you can expect for your business over the next 5 years.
That is fantastic. David, thank you very much. We're looking forward to you coming to South Africa and doing your thing here. I have a resume in front of me and it's quite a large a lot to say. But I think we can make it in another session, just after this one.
Yes, that's great.
So we are speaking this morning again to David Wilkinson, and he is a guy that he's brought fortune to lots of people by motivating them and forecasting your business and protecting your wealth. You have trained 500 executives, David, and a lot of people, 18 years of experience as a speaker to millions across the world. And it's an honor to speak to you this morning, David Wilkinson. How are you there in Chicago?
Wonderful. Thank you. It's wonderful to be on the show again with you, Herman.
We are expecting you here on the 21st of October, as I said. And how many seats can we accommodate? 250 about? Or 480 people we can accommodate in this breakfast seminar, hey?
Well, if we have the same kind of results that we had last time, we had 237 people show up. And we were not expecting that many people, so you never know. And with James Rice as our managing partner, he has exponential results that show everyone in the Lowveld. So you never know with James.
Well, we're looking forward to that. David, about the coming year, you said you lived in Nelspruit for 2 years and you still love this place.
Yes, I lived in South Africa for 7 years, and 2 of those were actually in the Nelspruit and White River area. And just found it to be a place like home. I felt very invited. I had a lot of people invite me over for braais. Went to a lot of pubs. Made friends with the wonderful ladies Yanita and Zelda at the KLCBT. And found some of the best clients that we've ever had in Nelspruit because of the high quality individuals that it attracts.
Well, time is running out now. We'll be airing these conversations of yours regularly to keep the people on track. They must talk to Zelda, I see here, at the telephone number 0137551988. There's also an email address, RSVP or RSVPVPR at lcbt.coza. And there's limited seating. So as jy wil hierdie seminar bywoon met David Wilkinson, as jy die dynamiese spreker oor hoe om jou besigheid deur te trek vir die volgende 5 jaar, moet jy hierdie ding bywoon. David, it was nice talking to you, and we're looking forward, as I said, to have you. I hope that we can have you here in the studio live just before you go to the seminar.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I will enjoy that very much.
So I'd appreciate if you let us know what your landing times are and when you are going to be in Nelspruit so we can schedule it. But we're looking forward to that. This was David Wilkinson from Chicago in America on a live Skype. And see you soon.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So do you want to do point 4 and 5 then of the Lowveld community interaction and discover how you can forecast what's about to happen in the next 5 years, Herman? Do you want to do those two?
Yeah, can we combine them?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. David Wilkinson has personally launched 22 multinational companies with up to 3 billion rand generated revenue and 20% net profit successes. Nou, as jy nie verstaan wat dit beteken nie, hy is 'n motiveringsspreker wat mense help om hulle besighede te herbeplan en te herkonstrueer, en hy het baie oefening. David Wilkinson, good morning again. How are you there in Chicago?
Wonderful. It's great to speak with you again, Herman.
Now, Lowveld Community Interaction will help you to predict your future business growth and discover how you can forecast what's about to happen in the next 5 years. You care to tell us about that?
Yes. One of the areas that we challenge our business clients and when we motivationally speak to audiences is to actually leave your home office, leave the offices, your corporate offices, and get out into the marketplace and network. To actually interact with other the business community is how you generate revenue in Nelspruit. Nelspruit, the Lowveld is a very strange place to do business. It's not like any other location in the world. And here's how it works. The people in the Lowveld like to do business with people they like. They actually want to do business with their friends. And in order for that to happen, you need to have an interaction with other business people. And so what I want to talk about right now is how do you actually forecast what's going to happen in your own business, in your industry over the next 5 years. So one of the first areas that we want to talk about is that you need to ask other individuals in your industry how they've been doing. If you're an architect, go meet with other architects throughout Nelspruit and White River and all these other outlying cities and ask your other colleagues, how are they doing? How's their cash flow? How was it last year? When I think about when I first landed and moved in Nelspruit in 2009, the business community was downhearted at that point. They were discouraged. 2006, 7, and 8 were rough years. In 2009, slowly started to pick it up out of it. And by the time the World Cup came, everyone was positive and encouraged. But that's because everybody was talking. And if you find out in your industry that the last 3 years were horrible, just like yours were, and that this year everybody's picking up, including yourself, you can start to predict your future. So what I want to ask the listeners is this, is how are you with keeping the facts and figures of your business and your industry? You see, you need to calculate the figures from your past in order to accurately forecast your business future. If I look at my own industry and I look at motivational speakers and business consultants and executive coaches, and I see that 2009 was a horrible year and then 2010 was a great year, and then it's just been gotten better every single year, then I can say to myself, okay, it can only get so good until eventually then you have a plateau and then it goes down, you have a downturn, and then you go back up again. Because there's cycles of business. And what we want to talk about is just like you can forecast weather. You can forecast over 100 years of results and say, this was one of the hottest summers in 100 years. Because you have the facts and figures. And what we're going to talk about of what's next in the Lowveld, forecasting your business and protecting your wealth on October 21st is how do you actually know what's going to be happening in your personal business based upon the past 5 years, what you can expect for the next 5. And this is going to be a dynamic business networking breakfast with the Kale CBT on October 21st on that Tuesday, and it's going to revolutionize business people and businesses in the Nelspruit and surrounding areas.
We are so looking forward to your visit to South Africa, and we hope that we can really have you in the studio just before you do this breakfast seminar. What's next in the Lowveld? David, it was nice talking to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
Righto, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's all.
Very good. Thank you so much, Herman. It was great to talk to you again.
Fine. I'll do this in the breakfast show several times. I'm going to mark them 1 to 5 discussions and then play them in excess. And then, well, it'll do my show some good too. So enjoy.
Thanks so much. Well, I'll talk to you on the other side.
Okay. Travel safely. Bye-bye.
Cheers.